This is Murder in the Morning with Tony Bruschi and Stacey Cole.
These stories are all literally just kind of blurring together at this point, and that's not to discount the trauma that these people have been through, and that's the scary and sad point. But it's what I've been talking about on Diddy for a while with the former FBI agents and such, when we're talking about the federal indictments and the investigation going on federally, not in the civil world, where federally at some point they may just say, we got enough. We got enough. There's nothing more. Like, we are just, it's not to discount anybody's trauma, not to discount anybody's story, but we cannot physically process more of these stories. Sean Diddy Combs facing a lawsuit now filed by a woman who alleges he sexually assaulted her in a party in New York City in 1999. So we're going back to the kind of nightclub days. The plaintiff, who was 23 at the time and working as a model and promotional employee, claims that after attending a VIP party hosted by Combs, he invited her to stay at his home to avoid catching a train. Yeah, like you do. Despite informing him that she was married and receiving assurances of no inappropriate conduct, she alleges that during the car ride to his home, she felt extremely drowsy and suspected she had been drugged. Upon arrival, she claims Combs pressured her into drinking more, made unwanted physical advances, and assaulted her over approximately 4 hours. Throughout the ordeal, she attempted to inform her husband of her location by texting him.
Wait a minute.
Hold up. Da-da-da-da-da.
Wait a minute.
Hold up.
I'm looking this up because I read that, went, whoa. Wait a minute. Wait a fucking minute. So I have, and I'm not promoting AT&T in any way. They drive me nuts a lot of times. But I have been an AT&T customer. I think it was called something else at the time.
Did we have texting in 1999?
That's what I'm looking up. Since 1997 with my Nokia 575 or 525 or whatever. I mean, it was old phone. I'm trying to remember.
I know I didn't have texting in 1999, but that's not necessarily saying anything.
I'm looking it up. Early text messaging systems in the 90s. So it was just SMS, which is short messaging service.
We had
obviously.
them. We had beepers.
I'm trying to narrow it down. Was it 1999? I thought it was the 2000s.
This was 99 that the alleged thing took place.
Okay, introduction of text-enabled mobile phones in 1999 allowed users to send and receive short text messages.
Okay, well, I guess it could be.
Multimedia did not occur until 2007.
Sure, but I do remember texting on a Nokia way the hell back. But that was like, I don't think I started, and this doesn't pertain to this case whatsoever, but I think my first texting was like 2004 or 5, around that area.
Well, shit, sometimes you're not great at texting now, so.
I'm not, but I think the actual, oh my God, and I know I was a little bit late to it, but I think that I remember the first time I did text, I was in Denver, Colorado, and the girl I was dating was texting me. And I'm like, oh, what is this all about, this texting thing? I remember it vividly. And it was still like the QWERTY keypad where you had to like do the weird thing, you know.
You had to keep tapping to get to the letter.
Yeah. But it's not to say it couldn't have happened in 99, because it looks like it could have, according to what you're saying, that it did exist back then. But it was so fresh and so clean at that point.
But you know, her being, what was she, a working model? I mean, so she was
very
kind of
easily
in the upper echelon.
Yeah.
She could afford those expensive phones. If something was the latest and greatest, she probably had it.
I hear it.
So,
And I'm not going to deny it by any means, but I'm glad we kind of put it into context there. There was still more of the beeper days, quite honestly.
right.
And people are like, what's a beeper? Could you put a message into a beeper? I never had a beeper.
Well, you could, but it had to be like one word. And I think sometimes it was easier to spell out like 8008 for boob. You You know, it was that kind of
It was like
technology.
calculator speak.
Yes. No, I think you could do like a few letters, if I remember correctly.
Beepers mainly, correct me if I'm wrong, because did you have a beeper?
Once.
Okay, so you had one, I did not. It was mainly, again, correct me if I'm wrong, you called the beeper and then it showed the person that this person is trying to get a hold of you. And then that would insinuate, oh, you should go to a payphone and make a phone call. Or if you happen to have a cell phone, then call them on the cell phone, correct?
Yeah, it would just show you the number that that beeped you.
It's like missed call, basically.
Basically is what it was. But
Okay.
it was pretty reliable. I mean, you could be in some really strange places.
Yeah.
And get a notification. Now, you wouldn't be able to make a phone call.
But you knew that person was trying to communicate with you, so you could go back and do
Right.
that if you wanted. Okay, yeah. She claims that she was trying to text him the address, and this does put it more in the context of the time, from pieces of mail she observed in the car. So again, today, if you weren't around in that time, it wasn't as easy as just dropping a pin. Here's my location. It wasn't Life 360. It was, you can follow your person, like any of that, which we'll talk about that at the end of the story, because I do find that part interesting, of where everybody like seems to need to know where everyone is these days. And it's just kind of part of the culture, which is weird. Anyway, in response to these allegations, Combs' attorney has stated, no matter how many lawsuits are filed, especially by individuals who refuse to put their names behind the claims, it won't change the fact that Mr. Combs has never sexually assaulted or trafficked anyone. Man or woman, adult or minor. We live in a world where anyone can file a lawsuit for any reason. Fortunately, a fair and impartial judicial process exists to find the truth, and Mr. Combs is confident that he will prevail in court. Your odds are not good, Diddy. I mean, you're talking like, what do we got? More than 100 now? Civil claims going on?
Easily, and some big ones. And still, I go back to the freaking baby oil. God. Just, oh, God. I can't tell you last time I bought baby oil. You?
I don't think I've ever bought in baby oil, honestly.
Well, you were not a child of the 80s. That's something
Yes, I
that
was.
we did. That's, well,
82.
okay. Well, all right. So I was a teen in the 80s. We
Yeah.
would lay out in the sun with baby
Oh,
oil.
you're
That's why
talking
we all
like
have
as
skin
a
cancer.
girl, like, and like in the sun and like sun
Yeah.
tanning. Okay. Okay. Well, baby oil is, what else is it used for? I mean, I know it's baby oil,
Babies?
but what do you do? I don't think I ever used baby oil with my own baby.
I'm looking that people are yelling at us right now, I'm sure.
I don't recall
don't
ever
know.
using baby oil with my baby. I don't really know what I would use it
know.
for.
I think it's just to moisturize.
Okay, she always felt very, like she didn't need baby oil. I don't know. Maybe my ex did at the time, and I was completely unaware of it. But
I don't
which I don't know, because I paid. I was pretty much the main caregiver.
God, I'm literally looking it up because I never had kids. I had cats and dogs and things.
I used it on my cat all the time. I mean, fuck, we lube up Bubbles.
No, please don't do that.
I'm
Oh my
kidding.
God.
I'm kidding. I'm not lubing up the cat with baby oil.
Promotes relaxation, interaction, and as a cradle cap remedy. So a moisturizer, basically.
Okay.
As an adult, I've used mineral oil to remove makeup, but I can't say I've ever purchased baby oil.
Do women
for
still
anything.
use baby oil for tanning? There's tanning oil now, isn't there?
Well,
I
they
mean,
shouldn't.
is it essentially the same thing, or is it just like a more doctored up version of baby oil?
I think it's doctored up.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it. I mean,
Yeah.
you're getting zero protection from the sun whatsoever. I mean, we know now that horrific sun exposure is not a good idea.
I mean, the purpose of baby oil, I would think, with Diddy is more so lubricant, like basically sliding around, or I don't know. Like, it seems like it'd be a really slippery thing to introduce into that world.
Yeah.
Like, it would be more like slip and slide, and it wouldn't be like, oh shit,
God.
what happened? A baby oil injury the other night. Shit. Watched a Diddy
Sucks when
doc
that
and thought we'd
happens.
experiment.
God.
The lawsuit adds to a series of legal challenges Combs has faced in recent years, notably in November of 23, his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura accused him of sexual and physical abuse, lending to a statement following that multiple other individuals have filed lawsuits against various forms of sexual misconduct and illegal activities by Combs, including claims of rape, drugging, physical abuse, and sex trafficking. Combs has obviously consistently denied these allegations. What makes it interesting is a lot of the allegations seem to be very similar. Like you kind of got a style, if you will, of what you do, your weird fucking self, of how you get people into your women into your world, or men into your world, or all of the above into your world. And it's not like healthy or normal, like let's have a nice dinner and let the moment progress. And we don't need drugs. We don't need alcohol. We don't need things that are going to inhibit. We don't need fucking baby oil to get us into the mood.
God.
As of now, Combs is incarcerated in New York after a federal judge denied his bail following a September indictment in charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He's pled not guilty to these charges. And he doesn't like people talking bad about him. He really doesn't like that. He's suing NBC Universal for $100 million. And he's suing News Nation, or Next Star Media, who owns News Nation, and a couple other people too, who've said bad things about him. So these are all allegations. Otherwise, he's a very nice man. Very nice men always have, hundreds of people suing them for rape and sex trafficking and all those drugging, alleged, all that alleged. Everything in there, put alleged on front of it. Nice people always do that. That's how it always works.
But wait a minute, why isn't he suing like the federal government and the FBI and all of them? I mean,
it's not going to work.
They're the ones who put him behind bars.
I was talking with Robin Dreek about this. Yeah, I talked about everybody, I think, about this week. Who did I talk? Maybe it was Eric Faddis, the defense attorney out of Denver. My question to him, because we talked about civil forfeiture on Diddy, because that's in the new superseding indictment that has come out against him a couple weeks ago, which basically says, we're going to seize everything you have because we believe your business enterprise is a criminal enterprise and your personal life is all commingled with this criminal enterprise. So that basically gives us rights to take everything you have. And they listed it out. So like everything. And civil forfeiture means they can, and this is another whole topic too we can go into, of they can take it. They don't have to give it back, even if you are found innocent. They don't tend to want to do that unless they really know they have a case where it's like really hard and they're going to win it. Or you're in a shitty jurisdiction in a small town and the city needs a new tank to drive down the road.
Right.
And they're like, let's take all their money. And we've seen that a few times because God knows every small jurisdiction of 30,000 people needs, armored vehicles and tanks. But we see that in those sort of cases as well. But in this case, they can pretty much take everything he has right now. So you do that, or at the very least you freeze his assets. So at the very least, I'm assuming they're doing that, if not just flat out taking them. You got a lot of attorneys to pay, considering you got to battle like 100+ sexual assault lawsuits and the federal government. You might need some funds. So I can see why it might be advantageous to try and sue NBC for libel and for slander, and knowing you're not going to get $100 million, but you're likely going to get a settlement because most of these libel cases, and these get settled for lesser amounts, and they know that NBC Universal has deep pockets and they probably don't want to go and litigate this forever. So it might just be a quick shot to try and get some money to try and keep himself afloat. Quite a fall from grace, allegedly, if that assumption is correct. And again, all assumptions. He's innocent until proven guilty.
So it's basically a GoFundMe way of doing things.
I'd be very curious if there was a Diddy GoFundMe. Like, how many people would fund the Diddy GoFundMe?
I bet a lot.
I don't know about that. I think you have more people funding the Susan Smith GoFundMe or the Koberger GoFundMe than the Diddy GoFundMe. I don't think he has any friends. I do not think there's anyone left other than Kanye and his kids.
Yeah.
Who's defending Diddy at this point? Who'd be willing to give him money other than people
Kanye.
who, well, yes, other than crazy people or people who otherwise might be predators as well. And I'm not saying Kanye is by any means. I'm just saying other predators or people who are not right in the mind. But there you go. Another round of Diddy.
The latest true crime stories, expert breakdowns, and shocking twists, all in one place. Press subscribe now to the Hidden Killers podcast and True Crime Today.